Hey everybody, you're listening to 91.5 WUML Lowell. I'm DJ Rob, and this is Pop Tarts in My VCR. We are once again joined with some wonderful comedians to talk about a show that we're promoting for August 12th, that's Friday, at One Broadway Collaborative in Lawrence, Massachusetts. Unfortunately, this interview we are without Chris, but I believe he is on the rest of this episode, so fear not, you're not without Chris, just without Chris for a little bit. But I am joined with Lauren Duke and Alan Piket, my host and opener for the show. We are not joined by Sam Rossi, the other opener, or Dan Martin, our headliner. I am the feature, but it's going to be a really fun show. I'm very excited for it. I guess we'll start in the order I see you on my screen. Lauren, how are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Just excited for this. I was telling somebody recently, I'm booked like crazy coming up. Like this August alone, I have 8 or 9 shows, and I'm booked on. Some of them I booked, some of them other people booked me. But it's great, and I'm plugging it on this station as much as I can. In late October, early November, I am recording a follow-up album to my last album, You Can Call Me Dad. That will be available to purchase and stuff and stream and whatever else, probably late December. Yeah, but Alan, how are you?
Doing great. How are you?
Same answer.
I mean it though. I know I sound sarcastic. That's just my voice.
No, not at all. I'll answer different. I'll answer differently. On a show that happened recently, it has already passed, but I booked a Buffalo comedian, Max Kazor, who's wonderful and very funny and very kind, and he is helping me out in Buffalo on November 1st. If somehow this interview reaches Buffalo, I'm performing at Nietzsche's, doing my new hour, which is
awesome.
very, very exciting for me, and it is the first time I will have ever performed in Buffalo, so it's very humbling that the first time I'm there, they're letting me headline and do an hour. So that's cool, and I'm very psyched for that. Comedy's going well, so I'm just excited in general, like since the pandemic. Well, not since the pandemic, we're still sort of in a pandemic, but like since things opened back up, things have been going very well for me in comedy, and I'm very appreciative and grateful for that. So there, I had 2 answers. I'm going to start asking the question I like to start off with, which is like, and I'll start with Alan to ask Lauren first last time, but what was your like oomph, your push to start doing this, to start doing comedy? Because everybody has a different answer, and we've got some real unique ones on this show.
I was probably like 8 years old or something.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I think it's definitely a moment that stands out for me. I was doing like an ensemble elementary school play, and it was this like holiday play, and like I remember I played a news correspondent who was like covering like an event where kids were getting to meet Santa, and my character's name was Expert Snoop. I still remember that. I don't know why. So so I basically was going to come out. They were going to be like, okay, we're cutting to Expert Snoop, and I come out to give a monologue like, out here in Toyland, it's Expert Snoop, all ready to give you the latest scoop, and that's basically what.
Yeah.
But so before I went out, I'm very detail oriented, and like before I went out, I was saying, hey, where's the microphone? I don't know why I was so like I didn't think I was gonna find it or something, but I was asking, where's the microphone? That's how I was always. I've always been like that. And then I was right about to go out, and I was just trying to. I was like, "Where's the microphone?" And then they're like, "All right, you gotta get out." I'm like, "All right, where's the microphone?" And they're like, and next thing I know, they're like pushing me out, and. If you were watching, it would look like I didn't want to go out there, like I was afraid or something. They were having to like, and I think what even got me more is knowing that I was really excited to go out there, and I always love being on and in front of people, so it's like for people to think I was like afraid. But anyway, they're pushing me out. I come up to the mic. I'm like 7 or 8 years old. And you know the audience is like this auditorium that's full of all these people is just laughing. And that could have been like one of the most traumatizing moments ever. But as they laughed, like before I said anything, I like kind of took it into my own hands, and I looked back like I basically, oh no, I came up and I was like, I looked back and I was like, I just wanted to know where the mic is, and everybody laughed, and suddenly I was making them laugh. And then before I went to my monologue, like I saw in the corner of my eye, like the kids backstage, like, but I could see them, you know, and they're like kind of laughing, and I just like do this slow turn back, like you know, like the stink eye kind of thing. And as I'm like looking at them, and like the audience is laughing as I'm doing it. And then I come back, and then I realize I see they're still laughing, and then I do it again, and the audience is like just laughing and cracking up. And it was like the most amazing rush I have ever felt. And then I end up doing my monologue, and you know, as planned and all that. But it was like, I still remember that moment as like, wow, like it felt amazing to just be making this huge auditorium of people laugh. And it's just stuck with me ever since. And I think that was like, I remember that being like my first indication of like, wow, I really want more of this.
That's a great answer. And what a story. Wow.
Yeah. Aside from that, I always did watch stand-up comedy when I was a little kid, or you know, since I was a little kid when I was a teenager. Like I was always really into it, and I remember always thinking it looked really fun. But I was like, oh, but I could never do that. Like that's hard. I don't think it was till I was like 10 or so that I knew that they write it ahead of time. like one time I tried to do a bit or a set for my mom. I was like, Mom, I'm gonna do a comedy set or whatever thing for you, and she's like, okay. She sits down, and I'm like, I start saying some BS, and then I'm like, I can't think of anything, and she's like, well, you know, comedians, they write their stuff ahead of. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I could do that, and then
that's awesome. That's awesome. Lauren, what about you?
That's great. So I was always interested in performing since like probably middle school, high school. I did theater, and I also did like music performing, and then like later on I started with improv first, and I did like that, but I basically decided I wanted to try out stand up after doing the improv, and I've basically just kind of been doing it since.
Awesome. Believe it or not, I think you're the first person I've interviewed on here that's come from improv.
Yeah, I did improv at Improv Asylum. Oh. I took a class there, and I took a class from improv. I took a couple classes from Improv Boston.
Wow, very cool.
And then I always just was people like from like places I've worked have just said like that I'm a sarcastic and that I should just try it out. So here I am.
Here I am. Right.
How long have you guys been doing comedy?
That was my next question, but I.
Sorry. You know.
No. This is very casual. This month makes 8 years for me.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow. Okay. For me, it's been, I think, 5 years.
Okay. And Alan, what about you?
Well, I did my first mic when I was 18, so it's been like 14 years since that. And I did some other, so yeah, maybe about 15 years overall. I've done some other stuff, but
wow.
Yeah, it was very on and off, but more recently, as I've been settled in more like in my professional career, like I never really wanted to go the starving artist route. I've actually been like putting the pressure on more just because I really love doing it. So
yeah. It's one of those things that, like, I think we could all agree. I think every comedian agrees. Once you do it and you have your first, like, not terrible set, like, I'm not even saying good set, just not terrible, you get addicted to it.
Yeah. Once you get over that hump of, I think I know what I'm doing.
Yes. Even if you don't.
Yeah. I think this is making people laugh.
I think I'm okay at this. Yeah. It's great. So, before Alan asks the question, I will.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. I've had interviews on here, by the way, that like I say almost nothing. It's just the other comedians riffing off of each other for 25 to 30 minutes. So like I don't care. But I like these being very casual. But I was gonna say, who are like some of your big, or what are some of your big, depending on your answer, influences? And by that I mean, like, a lot of people say like Carlin or Pryor, but I also like the example I give. One of my big influences, it has to be Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series from like 15 years ago, because that was one of the first places I saw absurdist humor. So any answer is valid, but I'm curious what your big influences are. I'll ask Lauren first.
Sure. So Robin Williams, huge, because I've definitely because I've incorporated, like, because I have the improv background and like I'm doing the stand up. Like, I've definitely, like, especially over the pandemic, I was watching a lot of his stand up and improv, and I built off like some of my comedy after watching him. I also see Bette Midler as another one for me, because I have the music background and I'm trying to find a balance between music and comedy. And I sometimes do incorporate music in my comedy. So I see her as one. George Carlin, like, I love his stuff. I do like a lot of my stuff is relevant. And so I find, like, just like watching him too, and just being like, you're definitely well before your time, and so much of what he does now is so relevant to now, which I think is great. And even just like growing up on like watching like those old comedies with my father, like Blazing Saddles, Animal House, and that just kind of like, just inspires me. Like, I think of different random stuff all the time, just based off of that, of what people say, like, for jokes and stuff like that.
Cool. Alan, what about you?
I would say the first two that come to mind are Jim Gaffigan and Gary Goldman.
Okay.
When I do think of my, like, what I see in my actual, like, style. I think early on, and maybe there's like a touch of Brian Regan, but I think in a lot of my cadences and the way I deliver things, Gary Goldman's been, I think, in my, like, it's been for a while now, but yeah, I would say them. And just a non-wrestling influence, I'd say pro wrestling, because it's I don't know, it's made me like always enjoy like the spectacle aspect. Like, I love coming up to entrance music and I like coming up to like rock music. Like, I start every one of my shows that I host with, I come up to So Happy by Theory of a Dead Man. But it's silly because, like, the last one I came up and like it's playing and I come up and I'm just like untangling the mic and I'm just standing there cash while it's like, and I'm just like, and then I just shut it off. It's like, thank you guys. So, those have been,
That's awesome. Cool.
That's great.
Yeah. I normally this is a low stakes question, and last interview I said I would change it, so I will, and it's appropriate because Lauren's here and I know she's a big fan. I actually expect this to be your answer for influences. Who are your favorite Muppets? Talking about comedy.
You want me to answer first?
Sure.
Sure. Fozzie and Animal are probably my favorite ones.
Okay. Alan, what about you?
I haven't thought about that one much. I think, I don't know. I think Kermit, because of his tendency to be just such a passive aggressive jerk sometimes, found it hilarious. And also, Cookie Monster too. I guess I like the ones who just be like a low key jerk to people. Oscar was very in your face about it. Like, that was his thing. But like, no, I remember, like, all those, and I feel like especially the older that I would watch when I was a kid, I always loved the stuff where they were just like sarcastic and stuff. Or just where they'd say stuff that like you wouldn't really catch at like till you're in it. I love the Cookie Monster bit where Ernie is trying to get him to eat a carrot so he won't take his cookie, and by the end he like so Cookie Monster takes the carrot and he's like, and he eats it. He's like, oh, this is carrot, wonderful. And there's like, and now cookie for dessert, and then he takes Ernie's cookie. But I like all the little subtle things. So yeah, Cookie Monster.
Awesome. I'm glad you said a Sesame Street Muppet, because a lot of people don't think of them when I have
Yeah, I
like a
definitely
Muppet
didn't think
related
of Cookie Monster at first,
Yeah.
but when I work at Starbucks, whenever anybody gets a cookie, I go up to my staff members and I go like, "Look, it's a cookie."
thing.
Well, I never watched the Muppets as like really like that, but I watched Sesame Street a lot when I was a
Sure.
little kid.
I,
Sesame
I,
Street
I
definitely
grew up
counts.
on the Muppets all the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I mean-
Gonzo is, I do. Gonzo's another one that I like a lot too.
Yeah,
Do you ever see the drug dealers sketch where the guy's like the drug dealer's trying to sell him an H? I think it was Bernie. He's like, this guy's like, hey, like,
Oh, that's such a good bit.
Oh man.
Oh,
No.
that's so good. I love that.
It's still funny. Like it's
Dude.
So
Sesame Street is kind of like SpongeBob. Like for a show for kids, it was always more clever and entertaining than it had any business being.
Yeah, it's some of the stuff in there is so clever and so well done, and I'm 1,000% behind you. And I know that listeners can't see it, but I just showed these guys. My partner crocheted me a baby or a Muppet, a baby Muppet Gonzo that I just held up to the camera. It's awesome. I love it.
That's funny. Oh, and I love the Phenomena song, even though I know that's not originally from the Muppets. You know,
Yes.
The thing Animal did, it's like Phenomena.
Yeah.
I have this game that my girlfriend, it drove my girlfriend crazy at first, but she's learned to embrace it. But it started with like my friends, like when we say something that fits the meter and is like 4 syllables, like if you're like, go over there, and then the other person would be like, da, 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 go over there. Da, da, da. We just like annoy the hell out of people with it. Anyway.
Yes. I've pretty regularly listened to the Cake cover of Phenomena.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Did you guys know there was I saw this video when one of Jim Henson's requests when he passed away was that he wanted some of his artists to sing like the chicken song, one of like the chicken songs, and there's like a video at his memorial of like 5 men just like singing like the chickens.
Yes,
like
it's great.
on those chickens, and it's so hilarious.
Hold up, I gotta go on YouTube real quick.
Yeah, I mean, like that's one of the things. Like I don't know if I've ever said it on this show, but like if you're a Henson fan at all, his entire memorial service is on YouTube.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. I mean, he has a lot of the cast of Sesame Street come out and do some stuff. He has Big Bird do "It's Not Easy Being Green."
Wow.
Oh
my God!
Carol Spinney, but he's in the Big Bird suit. And Frank Oz gives an incredible eulogy. It is very not radio friendly, but it's awesome. And I cannot recommend that enough.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's so sad, and the special, I forget what it's called, but the Muppets, like very shortly after he passed, the Muppets have a special where they're looking for Jim, and it ends with, "Oh, he passed away." But it's this incredible hour-long special that I think aired on ABC in only like a couple months after Jim Henson passed away.
Okay.
But it's great. I think that's on. I want to say that's also on YouTube in its entirety, or it was. I don't know if it still is. Don't hold me to that, but it was. I can go off about the Muppets and Jim Henson forever. But yeah.
Oh yeah, I love Jim Henson. Like definitely.
Like if I could meet a dead celebrity, he's always the top of the list.
I was 1 when he died.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
and it's just the fact that even so, like generations beyond still watch the Muppets and still admire his work.
Yeah.
It's just awesome. It's just really great, and like it's because the hidden comedy behind that too is just great to pick up on. Like I even have a Christmas like CD of the Muppets, and like just listening to some of the music is just kind of funny because they input like different like different things into it, and it's just very entertaining.
Oh yeah, there are
Yeah.
certain very popular like 60s through 90s songs that I can't hear anymore without hearing Kermit or Miss Piggy or Fozzie sing them from Kermit Unpigged. A very obscure 90s album mocking MTV Unplugged.
Yeah.
But it's great, and I like it was like a huge part of my childhood was that tape. Like she drives me crazy. Like I can't hear Kermit not singing that about Miss Piggy.
Oh my god.
It's so fun.
That's great.
They had the Muppets on Monday Night Raw at one point, and I remember. You watch wrestling at all, or
No, I didn't know that.
no? Yeah, nobody does. No, but yeah, they had a time where like there was a while where they would. This is like maybe 10 years ago or so. They would have like a guest host celebrity guest host, and one week they had the Muppets. And I remember they were out like, I don't know, on the stage or whatever, and then like, and I don't know, Kermit was like being like passive aggressive, like I think they were like one of the bad guys, Dolph Ziggler, came out, and he came out with like the Vicky Guerrero, Eddie Guerrero's like wife, and she's like an old ugly bag basically, and like she's like a cougar, and he's like this hot guy, and she's like hanging out with him or whatever, and then Kermit saying some insulting shit. And he's like, "Oh, I didn't mean to insult your mother, Mr. Ziegler."
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, they had some really cool like guest appearances on that show, and even so, like Sesame Street did too.
Yes,
and then if you look up Sheamus.
What was it?
If you look up the wrestler Sheamus. If you look up the wrestler Sheamus, you'll get why they did some like joke about Beaker like being related to him or something.
Okay. Okay, cool.
He's got this tall red hair.
Awesome. Yeah, if you ever get the chance, it tours. I don't know where it is now because like I lost track with COVID, but there's a really, really cool museum exhibit of like 50 years of Muppets memorabilia that's around, and like so I've seen like the original Kermit and the original Ernie and Bert and Red Fraggle, and it's awesome.
That's so cool.
It's so cool.
I would love to go see that.
Yeah, I saw it in Boston, and then several years later I saw it in Seattle. It's so cool and so fun. Like there's a bunch of still frames from Labyrinth and all sorts of just
cool,
wonderful Jim Henson stuff that like I don't even know anymore who runs that stuff, but it's phenomenal. And
I think there's a museum in New York too.
I think there is.
Yeah, that I remember looking up and I was like, I need to make it a point to go to New York and go to this thing.
Yeah, but the touring one is the only one I've seen, and it's so cool, and the exhibits are just. I mean, the Muppets in the franchise have been around since what 65, if not earlier, depending on where you say the start is.
Yeah.
So it's all of the stuff that just is in these museums, and like there's a bunch of stuff in the Smithsonian in DC too. It's great. It's great. But anyways, we should move past the Muppets because that could be all we talk about.
Now Fraggle Rock.
Yeah. Hey, I'm psyched for the reboot of Fraggle Rock. I will say, I am.
That's so cool.
I am psyched. But who knows if it'll be good. But yeah, I supposedly Dan is going to join us in a moment, but we'll see if that actually happens. Anyways, God, I am so off track now because we got so sidetracked. I'll plug it again. We're here to promote the show One Broadway Collaborative at 10 p.m. on Friday, August 12th. That's this Friday. With Dan Martin headlining, I am featuring Sam Rossi and Alan, whom we're joined with our opening, and Lauren Duke, who we're also joined with, as hosting. It will be a lot of fun. Is there anything else you guys want to plug, like socials or other events or anything like that?
Do you know my last name? I'm the only person, or how to say
Alan
it.
Piket. Alan Piket.
I'm the only person whose last name you didn't say. I was like, does he know how to pronounce it? No.
Yeah, I do. I'm sorry. I don't know why I didn't say. I don't know why I didn't say her last name. I have it in front of me on the computer, but also beside me on a piece of paper, both spelled correctly.
Yeah. No, but like sometimes people do that. Like I know it was just an accident, but like if it's on a show, like when it's on a show though, they're like, "Give it up for Alan." I'm like, "What am I, like a Make-A-Wish kid who was just randomly on here?"
Well, I mean, I this is another diversion, but like I've traveled a lot doing stand up, and 6 years ago or so, I did an open mic in New Orleans where they didn't give last names. It was like Bob, Mary, Sue, Joe, Max. And then it was, this is true. And then it was, you'll never believe who's here. Give it up for Tiffany Haddish. And then she did like 45 minutes at this open mic. And then I went back to like Bill and Joe, and nobody remembered them.
But anyway, plug. Yeah, no, I mean, I do a monthly showcase in South Philly. At the Black Cat Tavern. We do it the last Saturday of every month right now. So our next show is August 24th. No, it's not. It's August 27th. And then anyway, I get them confused. So yeah, and but yeah, it's a great time. And I'm going to be in, I mean, since people are probably mostly listening to this in Boston, I'm going to be doing One Broadway Collaborative. But you just mentioned that. And then I'm going to be at Eastie Farm the Thursday, the day before that. So
right on.
Like, yeah.
And again, Eastie Farm, super cool people run it. You're gonna have a blast.
Oh, and I guess follow me on Instagram, or can I say that?
You're fine.
I have Instagram at Alan Piket Comedy, AlanPiket Comedy. And I'm also on Facebook, and my booking brand on Facebook is Hijinks Comedy Productions. There are my plugs.
Right on. And Lauren, what about you?
Great. I'm doing the One Collaborative next week, and I'm also going to be in the Portland Comedy Festival at the end of the month.
Fantastic.
I'll be performing at 2 different locations. That's
awesome.
Wow. Are you doing that too, Max?
I'm not this year, but I am doing. Shortly thereafter, I'm doing the Autumn's Up Festival. I had to think of the name of it. Autumn's Up Festival in Stonehenge, or Gray, Maine, but it's Stonehenge. And I believe I'm the only comedian, and I'm doing 4 sets over 2 days. And I'm very, very psyched to be a part of that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a very like hippie festival with a lot of music, or all music and me. And it's going to be great. And if you're around Gray, Maine, it'll be a fun time.
Great.
Yeah.
Yep. You can also follow me. I also have Instagram, and it's Lauren Duke Arts.
Followed.
Awesome.
I'm about to do it.
Yeah. Well, guys, I'm gonna wrap it there. But thank you so much for being on this, and I will see you all, or you both, Friday.
Sounds great. Look forward to it.
All right.
Yes. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye bye.